A lot of black political commentators are talking about the gangster origins, if I can put it this way, of ANC leaders. That the Minister of Police, Senzo Mkhunu, wanted to dissolve the political killings task team because they were investigating the activities of drug cartels. Jacob Zuma, he just announced Duduzane Zuma, his son, is the deputy president of MK. All right, so that obviously is making many people think, no, this is a family business type scenario.
Hey, and welcome to the Political Show right here on Active FM, where radio has never been better. I'm your girl Cynthia, but you know you can call me Gix, and with me in studio we have
Gavin Inston.
Pastor Gavin Inston, right here on the Political Show, where Christ Politics is
Hot Politics.
Hot Politics. And this week's Hot Politics, we are looking at what are the electoral polling and demographics basically showing us for the upcoming elections. Yes, the upcoming elections in November here in South Africa. Pascal, do you want to give us a more brief explanation?
Yeah, the Social Research Foundation and on their platform called the Common Sense Platform, they've just released polling results, up until July, and there's quite big changes that have taken place between the last set of results that were, I think, in March versus now. And so one of the things is that, and I suppose this can be the title of the show, especially in Johannesburg, the ANC seems to be in freefall. So I think, if the show's entitled ANC's in freefall, that would probably be a good, description of what exactly it is that is going on here.
So that is what we're going to be speaking about. It's going to be an interesting conversation, hot as always, right here on the Political Show, where Christ Politics is
Hot Politics.
Hot Politics. So we're looking at the polling or electoral polling and demographic report that was put together by the Social Research Foundation through their platform called the Common Sense, and they conducted a comprehensive national municipal poll between the 8th of July and the 31st of July of this year. And the survey evaluated register voter sentiment, assuming a local government election turnout model of 53%. And the sample that they used compromises of 2,214 respondents, with the margin of error plus minus 2.1%, alongside a boosted sample of over 500 respondents in Johannesburg, which we're also going to be focusing on, with a margin of error of plus minus 4.4%. So let's look at what the breakdown basically says. Okay, now when we look at the national polling breakdown, or based on the reports and stuff, it highlights the significant 5-point drop in ANC support compared to March 2026, and that's not far off. Hey, March to July is not far off.
Yeah. So
the last time they did this was in March 2026, and then there was a 5-point drop. We're going to go through the actual percentages now. And then there was a rapid growth for the MK party as well. So the parties that are currently, I would say, your top 6 parties in terms of nationwide polling results, we've got the ANC that are currently sitting with a support of 34%. In March, they were sitting with support of 39%, meaning that they dropped by 5%. Okay. Then you've got the DA, who were sitting on 27%, who are currently sitting on 27%, and in March they were sitting on 28%, and they dropped by 1%. And then you've got the EFF, who in March were sitting on 6%. and now are sitting on 7%. So there was an increase by 1%. Sorry, I skipped the MK Party. MK Party is actually third at the moment. They were sitting on 10% in March and are currently sitting on 15%. So there was a 5% increase for the MK Party. And then you've got Inkatha Freedom Party, also known as IFP. They are stable. In March, they were 5%, and they currently still on 5% support. And then you've got the Freedom Front Plus, who were at 3% in March and are currently still sitting on 3%. So they're still stable. Pascal, what are your thoughts on the nationwide polling breakdown?
The first thing is that looking at the voter registration figures, one of the things we notice is that there's about, they say that the eligible adults in South Africa, that's 18 and over, that are eligible to vote is close to 40 million, or 39.8 million to be exact. But that the IEC, the Independent Electoral Commission, voter registration also sits at about 27.8 million voters, which means there's 12 million eligible South African adults who are unregistered, which is about 30% of the voting age population. The other thing, I think you mentioned it, was the expected turnout. In the election is they predicted a turnout for for this poll of about 53%.
Yeah.
That's of the registered voters.
Yep.
So of the 27.8 million, just over half of those would actually vote. And so the figures that we're getting there, the first thought that I have is that you're talking about the active voting population. And obviously what that is saying is the ANC's dropped what's at 5% since March. I think that I think that the Madlanga Commission and these things are having a major negative impact, on the ANC.
Yeah.
What remains to be seen is in terms of the support for the EFF, especially if Julius Malema does go to jail. Obviously, the way the EFF is trying to portray things at the moment is that if Julius Malema goes to jail, that he will be going to jail for reasons of being a martyr. And to cover up his crimes, because he's been engaged in out and out criminal activity. The other thing is a lot of black political commentators are talking about the gangster origins, if I can put it this way, of ANC leaders. There was a video where I saw a guy by the name of Anc talking about Tokyo Sexwale and other significant ANC leaders, from the time of exile and also in the early 90s, that they made their money through drugs. Now, if you look at the whole Madlanga Commission that's going on at the moment, that thing was established because General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi came out with allegations saying that the Minister of Police, Senzo Mkhunu, wanted to dissolve the political killings task team because they were investigating the activities of drug cartels. Now, if you listen to Anc, he says it's a well-known fact, within black South African communities, that ANC leaders, were engaged in the world of drugs and things like that. So they've been affected. The funny thing is, I think these voters are desperate for someone different, and the reality is they're going to MK, which is led by Jacob Zuma, who's the former president of both the ANC and South Africa. And under his presidency, it really wasn't good. The immigration problems really exacerbated themselves, and a lot of other state-owned enterprises collapsed. Even you think about South African Airways, and a lot of other state-owned enterprises, they absolutely and utterly collapsed under the guiding hand of Jacob Zuma. And on top of it, was it this week? I can't remember, or last week. I don't know if you heard, Gigs, that he just announced Duduzane Zuma, his son,
Yeah.
is the deputy president of MK. All right, so
Okay.
that obviously is making many people think, no, this is
Yeah.
a family business type scenario.
Yeah.
So when the voters are going there, it tells me that these are guys that are desperate for some sort of change. But the other thing is that overall, if you take from the 2024 elections, the ANC, MK, and EFF together, because the ANC was at about 39%, MK then was about 14%.
Mm.
So when you say they've increased, they've only increased to just on or just above the level that they were in 2024.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not like there's been major growth.
No.
But the ANC's dropped 5%, and the EFF, even though they've gone up to 7%, that's from the last poll, weren't they at 9% for the
They
election?
were.
So they're still -2, on 2024. So if you look at the three of them together, they're sitting at about 56% of the vote. And if you look at now, MK, what was at 14, the ANC was just under 40, so 39. So that makes 53, and the EFF was about 9. Which is about 62%. So they've lost overall, all three parties. There's been a loss of 6%. If you look at their market share,
Yeah.
and then if you add the DA into that, because the DA is 27%.
Yeah.
So if you take those three parties, which are the ANC and their babies, and the DA, that takes them, 56 plus 27, about 74%.
Mm.
Am I right?
No, 73%. 56 plus 27 is 73. Just one. Off.
Isn't it 80?
No.
Okay. But
You guys
anyway,
can correct us in the comments.
yeah.
Yes.
In 2019, the ANC, the EFF, and the DA were gathering well over 90% of the votes.
It is 83.
83.
Yeah.
Don't know what happened to Messi. So that's a 10% market share loss there.
Yeah.
Now, the other story, however, is if you look at 30% of the voting age is not registered. And of those that are registered, 53% are voting. There's a problem of credibility with the politicians overall.
Yeah.
And in my view, part of the problem goes in the fact that if you look at the demographics of South Africa, according to the last census in 2022, 85.3% of South Africans identify themselves as Christian. None of those parties, I'm talking about the three Marxist parties, the ANC, EFF, and MK, and the DA, which is somewhere between a liberal and a Marxist party themselves, none of them espouse Christian values. None of them, take Christianity to heart. And I think there's a disillusionment over the political class because of that. And so I believe what many in South Africa are crying out for is someone that has more traditional Christian values to rise up. So the country's waiting for a person with the moral compass of the Bible to step up. I believe if such a person rises up, you're going to see a cataclysmic change in the electoral map of South Africa. The DA is also not being able to capitalize on the ANC demise because, as Moletse Mbeki said at the business conference, I think it was a year and a half, 2 years ago, that the problem with the ANC and the DA is that you battle to separate them in terms of their policies. And that I believe firmly. And a Christian who takes everything by the Bible is not going to be excited by any of these parties. The one of those four parties that I'd say is least antagonistic towards the church would probably be MK, but I wouldn't from a church point of view I wouldn't trust MK. Although they seem on the face of it to be the least antagonistic towards the church. So that might also help MK. Because a lot of pastors are looking at these parties and they're looking at, for example, something that we've spoken about before, but the whole initiative with the CRL Section 22 committee, where they are aiming to put legislation in place to allow the government to regulate the church.
Yeah.
I myself have had it with these politicians. That for a country that fought so long against the scourge of apartheid, and the anti-apartheid forces were able to galvanize themselves around two things. One was funerals, and the other was the church. Actually, three things, because they also used to be able to use football matches and things like that. But the reality at the end of the day is that the church played a massive, massive, massive part in the liberation struggle. And the church, and even, many parts of the white church in South Africa roundly rejected apartheid. And now you come and you want to regulate the same people that helped gain liberation for the entire nation, when you yourselves are up to your eyeballs in corruption, passing bad laws, passing laws that the people don't want, locking people down when they don't want to be locked down, like as in 2020, all of these sorts of things. And the political establishment is not reaching out to people. This is what they're saying, and I know that the IEC gigs are extremely concerned about the voter registration stats.
Yeah.
They especially younger people, they're not being able to get them to vote.
Yeah.
And I think people are tired of the hypocrisy.
Yeah.
And they want something real.
Yeah.
And I know people might find this controversial, but if someone is not following Christ, there's a problem with their values.
Yeah. So now let's look at the Joburg specific or Johannesburg specific results. So in the city,
I just want to mention, as we look at Joburg, we need to think about those campaigns that we spoke about a few months back from Helen Ziller.
Remember the Helen Ziller campaign, swimming in the potholes, sneak into buildings. Yeah,
But South Africans like naughty ones, eh? And she was naughty there. She sneaked in.
Kayaking next to the taxi driver. I mean, Helen Ziller was doing some stuff, right? While ANC, we have Phala Phala, we have the Madlanga Commission thing going on, and EFF, obviously, the leader of EFF was on trial. So in the city of Johannesburg,
Afi Forum's taking him on again.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw that.
No.
Because courts have come out and said it's illegal for him to encourage people to go and occupy land that belongs to other people. And he did it again.
Eish.
And Afi Forum is wanting to push charges against him.
But now in the city of Johannesburg Metro, polling shows a steep collapse in ANC support, placing the Democratic Alliance firmly in first position with more than double the support of its nearest rival, which is the ANC. So let's look at
just
the
say that again, Kix, because I have to shake my head when I hear you say that last line again.
So the Democratic Alliance, the DA, has been placed in first position with more than double of the support of its nearest rival, which is the ANC.
Did you ever think you were going to hear that figure?
No, I didn't. But listen, I remember DA almost convinced me with her. What's this?
I was so long by that.
With her campaigns, I was almost convinced. But obviously, again, going back to what you mentioned in terms of what they stand for and the values, and so let's look at the stats. With the Democratic Alliance, the DA, in March, their support was 39%. They are currently sitting on 42%, meaning that they had a 3% increase since March. Then we have the ANC. All right. Now
isn't that?
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at all of these videos and went out, they started last year.
Yes.
And plus they've got these vehicles going around and they're fixing things now.
Yes.
So they've gotten money to go around and fix things. So people see, and it's got this big bucky there, which is like a SUV or something.
Yeah.
We call it a bucky. And it's got DA there all over, and DA fixing the city, and this type of stuff. That's also what's going on there now. And I don't know. I think the campaign's working here in Joburg.
Yes, it is. No, it definitely is. So In March, ANC was sitting at 30%, just 9% behind
But even that was a shock. Gigs.
DA. Yes,
For the ANC in Joburg to be 9% behind the DA was a shock.
that was a shock. It really was. But now the ANC is currently sitting on 18%. They didn't even make
Unbelievable.
20.
The party of Nelson Mandela.
They're sitting on 18%, and that is a 12% decrease since March. Okay, that is something that is very shocking. And then you've got
And the ANC is to get it close to 70% of the vote in Joburg.
yes. I mean, think of places like Soweto.
Yeah. Soweto's like 3 or 4 million people alone.
Yes, all of these places are huge, as far as we know, are huge ANC strongholds and stuff. So they've collapsed to 18%. And then you've got the MK party, who were on 8% in March and increased to 13%. That's a 5% increase.
Yeah, so some of the ANC support has gone there.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've lost well over 10%.
Yep.
So, yo.
That's crazy, right? And then you've got Action SA, who's number 4, and they were on 10% in March and are still on 10% now, in terms of the Joburg support, so they remain stable. And then you've got the EFF, who were on 4% in March and are currently sitting on 8%. So that is a 4% increase. That is crazy. And before I hand it over to you, Pastor, if you just, or maybe I should, I'll hand it over to you and you can speak about, with these stats.
Well, just in terms of what you were saying earlier,
Yes.
if you think about it, the DA has gone up by 3%.
Mm.
The ANC's dropped. If you look at the ANC's drop,
Yes.
the EFF and MK together have grown by 9%.
Mm.
Am I right?
Yes.
It's 5 and 4.
Yes.
Okay. So it seems like 3% of the vote for the ANC has gone to the DA,
DA, yes.
which has not happened nationally.
Mm-mm.
So Helen Zille is working her magic. Must be. Because, I mean, in a city the size of Joburg, 3%, a 3% swing is huge, and especially since March.
Yes.
And we're sitting now in August, and, I mean, these figures, in fact, I'm just wondering now, if you look at the Bedlanga Commission over the last week or two, I'm wondering how that's going to affect, and how that's going to affect voters, and also this Pala judgment. The one that said that the president doesn't have to face questions in Parliament for now. I'm wondering how that's going to affect things going forward.
Yeah. So do you want to speak on, okay, let me quickly speak on the demographic breakdown in terms of race and age. And then what I want you to speak on is the coalition. So now especially in Joburg, now that we see where we're kind of sitting with the DA and the ANC and the MK, what are the possible coalitions that could happen? But let's look at the race and age. So in terms of the racial demographics, black voters, ANC retains its largest share overall, but faces deep fragmentation. So in terms of rural traditional loyalty, that still remains intact. However, with the MK party, they have a very strong Zulu Gauteng support. And then the EFF have a youth, who are more youth, have eroded urban ANC dominance. But the issue here is that the young people are not voting. They're not registering to vote. So they obviously, most of the people who vote for them are the young people, but the youth is not voting.
The EFF has lost their luster.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but like 2019,
Yeah.
the EFF, you felt their presence.
Yes, you did.
You saw people walking with red berets, aligning themselves with the EFF all over the place.
And in the universities.
In the universities,
and,
I mean, they were winning the SRC elections.
Yep.
And you don't feel that now. I don't know if you feel the same.
No.
But it's like well, you see MK more than you see EFF now.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So, and then obviously with the DA, they maintain a single-digit share nationally, slightly higher among middle-class urban professionals. This is with black voters. Then with the white voters, overwhelmingly majority, 80% plus support the DA, with Freedom Front Plus capturing conservative Afrikaner voters. Then in terms of the colored voters...
Well, I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of black podcasters
Yes.
wanting Peter Groenewald, the correctional services minister and ex-leader of the Freedom Front, to be the president.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
That's interesting.
So,
Yeah.
this country never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah. You never know with South Africa. Then in terms of the colored voters, there's plurality.
Yeah,
And majority support for the DA across the urban centers, with ANC retaining a modest share, and the Patriotic Alliance, obviously they will be there.
Yeah.
The Patriotic Alliance competing strongly in key hubs. Then we've got the Indian voters and the solid majority support the DA, with residual votes split among small parties and independents. So that's basically with regards
I think
to
the
racial.
Patriotic Alliance has made a huge mistake.
Yeah.
They've gone after this whole coloured nationalism thing.
Mm.
And the reality is, look, you could potentially win the Western Cape, with that sort of reasoning.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yes.
But there's, I hear too many pastors, coloured pastors, telling me that they believe Gator McKenzie is a gangster and stuff. So they're going to struggle there.
Yeah.
But if you look at their values, I actually did some research on the values of all the parties. And they're the only party that comes closest to the ACDP for having very strong Christian values.
Mm.
And, Ashley Sauls, we've spoken about him before, he openly speaks in Parliament for Christ, and stuff like that. And doing this coloured nationalist thing, I don't think it's going to help them. Because, look, if the coloureds were the majority of the country, then it can work. But, I think if they focused on the Christian stuff, and became like, sort of fought more for the issues the ACDP fights for, because the ACDP just doesn't have the presence. I think they would explode.
Yeah.
If they really started, if they fought for the church, and really started pushing a lot of issues which they believe in, then I think they'd be surprised how fast they'd grow. I think they're missing a trick, and they're missing it big time.
And then in terms of the age, we've got 18 to 34, which are the youth, are categorized by lower turnout and high volatility. Heavily split between MK and EFF among young black voters seeking radical reform, and the DA among the urban professionals. And then the ANC exhibits its weakest support in this demographic. Then you've got the middle age, 35 to 54. This is a transitional group balancing historical party identification with growing economic frustration, and ANC faces fierce competition from DA in metros and MK across Gauteng and KZN. And then we've got those that are 55 and older. This is the highest turnout and brand loyalty. And I think this is the issue that we have in South Africa, is that the older voters are the ones who are, going to vote only. And I'm not saying that there's an issue with the older voters voting and things, but then we need the youth as well to step in. But the ANC holds a firm core among the older black voters, while older white, coloured, and Indian voters overwhelmingly support the DA. And that's in terms of the racial or the demographics between the race and age. Pastor, what are the possible coalition scenarios that could happen in Johannesburg?
Yeah, obviously one of them, the one that would make most sense in terms of what they believe would be if the DA and Action SA were to get together, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah. But the reality is there's so much personal stuff going on there that I'm not 100% sure, if that's going to happen. So that is obviously the one possibility, and I mean with the current stats, it's 42 for the DA and 10 for Action SA. They'd have a 52% majority, and if that could hold, they'd rule for 5 years. If you look, for example, at the EFF, the ANC, and MK, they total 39. So even if they band together now, after 2021, if they banded together, they could take the mayoral thing.
Sorry,
the
it's
mayor.
crazy. They've lost so many votes that even if they add Action SA, they wouldn't have enough votes.
That's the other thing. So like in Tshwane, where they stood together with Action SA and gave Action SA the mayorship, that won't work now in Joburg because they'll still be 1% short. Okay, so that yeah, it's going to be very difficult. In fact, under this for the ANC with other parties, to attract the mayoral position. And then there's also the possibility of a grand coalition between the DA and the ANC. That would have 60% of the vote. So just some strategic risks in Johannesburg, where local ANC branches and coalition voting patterns have often aligned with EFF MK access against the DA. A local ANC DA pact faces internal resistance from ANC municipal caucuses. Additionally, the ANC's junior role, holding under half the DA seats, creates severe power sharing imbalances. So, if I look at the history between Action SA and the DA, especially in Pretoria, I think we might be facing quite a lot of volatility in Joburg. Because there's too much bad blood at the moment between Action SA and the DA.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm looking at all of at this thing. The most likely outcome would be instability and mayors changing on a regular basis.
This is the DA and ANC.
No, well, I mean, I don't see how the DA and the ANC are going to work with each other like they are in the GNU.
Yes.
I'm not 100% sure that that's possible in Joburg. I mean, in Gauteng, the ANC supporters are more going, with Panyaza Lesufi and Paul Mashatile. And they're far more inclined to go into coalition with people like the EFF. So, than the national leadership of the ANC. So, unless the DA can grow some more support or the ANC can get back some support, I'm seeing a very unstable council for the next 5 years for Joburg, potentially.
It's crazy.
Or maybe, Helen Zille will be able to work something with Action SA. And the way they talk about each other, I'm not sure. But anyway.
It's just politics.
Yes. Well, it's more than politics. This is personal.
Oh, okay.
They insult each other personally.
Okay, so it's not just politics.
Herman Mashaba, I mean, who's the biggest thing that Herman Mashaba complains about? It's the DA. And who's the biggest, the DA splits their criticism between the PA, the Patriotic Alliance, and Action SA.
Yeah. In Romans 13, verse 1-3a, it says, "Be a good citizen. All governments are under God. Insofar as there is peace and order, it's God's order. So live responsibly as a citizen. If you're irresponsible to the state, then you're irresponsible with God, and God will hold you responsible. Duly constituted authorities are only a threat if you're trying to get by with something. Decent citizens should have nothing to fear."
Yeah. Now, obviously, just something in terms of that, you've got to, if you're a Christian, okay, you can't just be a revolutionary. That's the first thing. That is what that passage is telling us. And don't just go against the government. The whole thing about being a rebel is not a good thing. But you've also got to look at, for example, in Revelation, where you start talking about the mark of the beast, where Christians are going to have to stand up against the Antichrist. And not only that, when you look in the book of Acts, you see Peter and John and them, when they were instructed by the ruling authorities of their day not to preach the gospel. Their outright statement was, look, who must we support, you or God? So in South Africa, we've got to look at their very many wicked policies and laws that have been put into effect in this nation. And this is why we have such a problem. And so as Christians in South Africa, we actually have the right to make our voices heard, and we have the right to hold the government to account. And first of all, with our votes, we need to hold them to account And we need to start looking at the Bible when we vote. Take Jesus into the voting booth with you. But the second thing also, with the way that power is structured in South Africa, if South Africans stop being apathetic, trust me, this country can become a much better place very quickly. If citizens do the job that citizens are supposed to do. And so the last thing I want to say is, if you're a Christian, go out and preach the gospel. People need to change in this nation. Go out and preach the gospel. You'll be surprised what God can do. Amen.
Yeah, amen.
And I believe He's going to do something in this nation.
This has been an amazing conversation. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm your girl Cynthia, but you can call me Gix. And with me in studio we've had
Gavin Inston.
Pastor Gavin Inston, right here on The Political Show, where Christ Politics is
Hot politics.
Hot Politics.